This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sic'Em 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. Learn more at richardcarr.com.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with me, David Smoke on 365 Sports. As someone with your background and the relationships, psychology, how much, and is it more frustrating to you when you sometimes may misread your team, misjudge them, than even if a quarterback throws a pick or someone makes a mistake on the field?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I think it's right now it's difficult because I think they're probably finding out about themselves as well, and so I think there is, in the process of trying to get to the kind of what the basis for this action or the why, and to get to all of that, you don't want it to be you don't want to create a whole other thing when you're trying to address this one, poor performance or this one, missed opportunity. And so I think you want it to be, you want to get information, and you want to help better understand from their view what the problem is. And so I think when, there's not a real sure feel on that side of it, it only clouds it, and I think that has been apparent to me these last couple of weeks. And I think the view for us as coaches to try to be clear and really define what we're saying, I think can help with their interpretation of events. And so that's been the path we've been on, but it's been a unique one.
You've mentioned complimentary football. That's been missing on occasion. You said something in the postgame that you thought your team was ready to go to battle, ready to fight. And I know that human nature is there's going to be good days and bad, but shouldn't they always be in that mode before a game?
It's funny. You would think so, but that you have to really work to get them there. And I think we've probably had some games this year, unfortunately, and none of us ever talk this way, but this goes to the task within the task, where I think we showed up thinking we're just going to win this game. Here we are. Where's the championship belt? And so and that was something that's never been a core belief or a core anything we do. And so when that shows up, that's very alarming, and that's something I take really almost personally. And so the ability to be at your peak and be at your most ready when the game starts is really a skill, and we're still trying to hone that.
I'm not trying to dig too much, but is there something missing? You've mentioned maturity. You've mentioned this or that. There's nothing really in the core of this team that's an issue behind the scenes, is there?
No. I think everyone is really trying to do everything they can to win, and I think that may be it right there. Is that instead of maybe our way or maybe instead of the scheme's way, or maybe instead of the coach's way, or maybe instead of this unit's way, we're trying my way. And I think that's something that we have to all get on the same page with.
As a defensive guy, that's what you're known for. It doesn't mean you don't know all the other stuff as well. How much does it hurt your defensive soul, so to speak, when you have that kind of a performance, tackling, assignments, whatever else on Thursday night?
Yeah, it's for sure frustrating, and it angers you really when you watch it, and you think of, and I think it just speaks to just just a few weeks ago, right, here we are making big time stops and kind of really, in a lot of ways, just doing the opposite of that. And it just shows you how, I don't know, it just shows you how this game can, you can't cheat the game, and you have to prepare and work in such a way that your best. You're going to go. Saturday is going to be judged not by what you think or what you hope, but by what you have, and you got to put all of it in. And so I think what a great lesson to our defenders, and I know there's a call that'll be answered here coming up.
You mentioned the film Don't Lie. There's no question. I mean, that's evidence. Mm-hmm. What's it like when you play it in front of the team? Is it quiet? Is it murmuring? What's it like?
Yeah, no, it is, and I think those are part of the hump we're trying to get over. I think there's times when the view of the film becomes such a deterrent to their play on Saturday, and I think there's nothing in our film room where it's shame or blame or any of that, but it's like, here's something that happened, here's where we got to get better. I think we've got guys that all try to do well to the ninth degree, that and they're perfectionists by nature and for sure anxious about doing right and everything else, and then when they get in to a game and they don't do well, there can become a thought of, this is gonna suck to see this in film on Monday or whatever it is, and that's part of the fight we're trying to get, is to not think that way,
right?
To continue to put it all out, to practice on Saturday. I think some of that is affecting the play that we're seeing.
What is the biggest deterrent to you not playing complimentary football?
I think we've got guys that our team is getting in our own way. And it's a failure on my part. I think 95% of coaching is helping people get out of their own way. And right now we're finding ways to get in our own way. And, I think trust the process. I think clearly define what the process is, clearly define, who we want to become, energy and edge and execution, and really kind of show the examples of what that looks like, and show that, hey, we've done this before, right? We did this in this last game with some glimpses here and there. We have to stack these and put these together, and I think that's, winning is always, it takes what it takes. I think that has not changed. Hopefully we have changed.
You had generational players on defense last year, mm-hmm. with Petrie and Bernard. When you sent them after the quarterback, it didn't take long to get there, and their instincts along with speed was an incredible combination. J.T.
Mm-hmm.
Woods.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with your pass rush? Is it the defensive line, or is it the coverage that's kind of battling each other on who is doing what they're supposed to do?
I think the secondary-wise, there has been there's been such a need to play two high safeties and cover the guys that are covering that has limited the rush component. Last year there was much more of an emphasis on single high, and while there still was some too high being played, not to the extent that we're playing now. And I think some of that has been, probably mid-season or I guess, 3 games ago, mm-hmm. 2 games ago. And I think I'm hopeful that we can come out of that, for the sake of our rush, we need to get to where there's more single high and there's more, variations of pressure. Because I think, we continue to cover the guys that are covering. It's the rush that gets hanged out to dry.
Are you playing cover 2 and 3, or are you playing quarters? What are you doing?
A lot of two. A lot of two-man.
So this team is still pretty good. You just, right now, the record doesn't show it. You need a win desperately. What would a win mean against Kansas just to get back in the win column?
I think it would bring some energy to guys. I think it would bring probably probably some validation to the work that they've been putting in throughout these last couple weeks. But then, I think for us to achieve all of it, we have to be able to focus on what's right ahead of us. I think of today, and I think of the team meeting. I think of a special teams meeting. I think of the unit meetings, position meetings, the walkthrough, the practice. And let's knock all of those out with some energy and some focus. And let's, it's our standards versus Kansas's standards today. Let's win today. And I think, that type of emphasis, I think, will get us to where we want to be on a Saturday.
You're a third-year head coach. It's not like you've been coaching for 15 or 20 years as a head coach. The first year was COVID. It was rough. Last year was unbelievable. Best year ever at Baylor history. What have you learned about yourself in third year?
I think that it's, it's a good question. I feel like that, not everyone's like me or like you. And so I think, the doing something for an outside, reward or doing something for what am I going to get? I think those are things where I almost feel like, we're almost training kids to be more that way. And I'm the very opposite of that in a lot of ways. And so I think, having the lens to see that clearly and to always be on the lookout for that, I think is a strong lesson from this year.
Are you disappointed?
No, I think, I think there's always like a learning and growing part of it. I think that, if I turned away and didn't want to see it or didn't want to talk about it or any of that, and then I'd be disappointed.
Last question, personally. Your son plays 7th grade football, and you kind of stand off to the side. I'm sure everyone knows who you are. I had someone tell me, Dave Aranda's son can go. Is it fun? How much fun is it watching him play football?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's he enjoys it. He plays baseball too, and so when COVID hit, he really kind of retracted, and all of a sudden, video games and there's like these video game chairs and there's video game headsets, and we're kind of going, what happened to our boy? And while he still has that, I think it's so much better to see him outside and playing sports and being on teams and everything, and so way appreciative and thankful for the coaches and the teams that he's on.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach on 365 Sports. Hope you enjoy.